Hey guys, Neverack Win right here. I'm at the beach, as you can see, but recently I got a whole thing of books from our neighbors. Now our neighbors, they were in a camper. They were an older couple, had a 70s camper, and they were going camping for the very last time. Their old 70s camper was full of leaks and issues, so once they were done, they donated the camper to parts repair, and they gave us most of the stuff they had. And one of that was all these books, and I thought I would take a look at all the books for all you book nooks. So I went ahead and organized them, but I haven't read any of these, so we're gonna go ahead and pop these open. So I put the hardbacks and the ones that didn't fit on top. There's only 4 of these. So I want you guys to suggest me what book I should read here. Maybe which one I should read first. So we're gonna take a look at all the books here. We got Sandra Brown, Play Dirty. It's got no back, so put that over there. John Jakes, Charleston. And on the back we got some reviews. It doesn't actually say what the book is about, but based on the reviews I'm able to see John Jakes is the best historical novelist of our time. John Jakes is the godfather of historical novelists. So I imagine this is a historical novel. And appears to be one too. As you can see, a Confederate flag in the picture. The Friends of Eddie Coyle, a novel by George V. Higgins. The Friends of Eddie Coyle is the most powerful and frightening crime novel that I have read this year. It will be remembered long after the year is over, as marking it the debut of original talent. So again, these hard books don't like to tell what the book is actually about. Now this sad book, I don't know what happened to it, but I can't tell what book it is. Max Brand, Ride the Wild Trail. I assume that's what it is, but I'm not sure. There's no back, so I can't really read it. And so here we got all the books. I'll go ahead, I ordered them so you guys, oh, there's one more, so sorry about that. We got Johnathan Kellerman, Compulsion. And does it say anything about it on the back? No, it does not. So that's unfortunate. And here's all my softback books that aren't damaged. I'll go ahead and read all the covers of them. We got Johnathan Kellerman, True Detectives. Barry Reed, Indictment. Iceberg by Clive Cussler. Firefox Down by Craig Thomas. Silent Partner by Johnathan Kellerman. Grievous Sin by Faye Kellerman. Jack and Jill by James Patterson. Dead Aim by Iris Johnson. Joseph Finder's Paranoia. Skirmore Row by John Grisham. Lee Child by Worth Dying For by Lee Child. I don't know if you can see Lee Child. Yep. The Sky is Falling by Sidney Sheldon. The Forgotten by Faye Kellerman. Congo by Michael Crichton. Judith Krantz by Dazzle. Sue Grafton, R's for Ricochet. Obsession by Johnathan Kellerman. Serpent's Tooth by Faye Kellerman. The Deception by Barry Reed. The Whispers by John Connolly. Again, Compulsion, I must have a hardback and a softback of it. Johnathan Kellerman's Compulsion. Johnathan Kellerman's Gone. Johnathan Kellerman, Double Homicide. Dick Francis Knockdown. Echo Burning Lead Child. The Price of Honor by Colonel David H. Ackworth. Sidney Sheldon, The Best Laid Plans. David Blavatsky, King and Maxwell. David Blavatsky, The Innocent. Nevada Bar, Hunting Season. Johnathan Kellerman, Devil's Waltz. And Michael Connolly, Angel's Flight. So that's all the books I have here, and we're going to read a couple of the backs of them. Moses Reeves and Aaron Fox have the same mother. Their respective fathers were cops, friends, and partners, and despite their shared calling, their turbulent family history has set them at odds. Moses is a no-frills LAPD detective. Aaron is a smooth-talking private eye. Usually they go their separate ways, but the disappearance of a straight-A student, Captain Caitlin Frostig, isn't usual. Reluctantly tag-teaming to crack a cold case that won't die, Moses and Aaron descend into the sinister underside of the city of Angeles. Surrounded by a twisted millionaire moguls, tarnished trophy wives, and famous faces with hellish secrets, they pull no punches as they penetrate the strange, seductive world of glamour, wealth, and power to keep LA's dark dreamland from claiming another lost soul. Okay. I'm going to put it back. Read the back of everyone that I can. Again, there's no back on this one. It just has a review. I hate when books do this. You want to know what the book's actually about. So we got... A beautiful young woman's corpse is found along a highway. There's not a mark on her, and her autopsy can't determine the cause of death. Rumor says her boyfriend, a prominent surgeon, will be charged for murder unless Dan Sheldon can stop the incitement. So, what that's about. Iceberg by Clive Cussler. Frozen inside a million-ton mass of ice, the charred remains of a long-missing luxury yacht vanished en route to a secret White House rendezvous. The only clues to the ship's priceless and missing cargo, 9 ornately carved rings, and the horribly burned body of its crew. Alright, that's that. Got Firefox Down by Craig Thomas. Pilot Mitchell Grant has stolen the deadliest warplane ever built, the Soviet MiG-31. Now, after battling Russian Fox-8 fighters, he streaks through the skies over Finland, trailing a glittering necklace of precious fuel from a small puncture. He's going down into a frozen lake somewhere near the Soviet border. Hold on a second, I gotta put this book back. Johnathan Kellerman, Silent Partner. Again, we got a bunch of reviews. At a party for a controversial Los Angeles sex therapist, Alex encounters a face from his own past. Sharon Ransom, an exquisite, alluring lover who left him abruptly more than a decade earlier. Sharon now hints that she desperately needs help, but Alex evades her. The next day she is dead, an apparent suicide. Alright. Putting the books back where they belong. Faye Kellerman, Grievous Sin. Peter and Rena are delighted with their newborn baby girl, but the scene at Los Angeles Hospital is a nightmare. Budget cutbacks and staff shortages so compromise security in the nursery that Peter, the ever-anxious cop, worries about his family's safety. Then a baby is kidnapped and the respected nurse vanishes along with her. Peter, his tough-talking partner Marge, and Peter's eager older daughter Cindy through a twisted path of hospital politics, misplaced passion, and torturous mind games of guilt and redemption to bring them face to face with the most grievous sin. Jack and Jill by James Patterson. Someone has killed the most powerful men in the U.S. Senate, and the whole world is watching. Someone has murdered a small black girl on the mean streets of Washington, and no one seems to care. But only DC homicide top cop Alex Cross suspects that the evil striking down both of the high and lowly wears the same shocking face. From James Patterson, the sensational author of super bestsellers Kiss the Girl, Then Along Came a Spider, comes Jack and Jill, the #1 thriller that breaks all the rules and shatters every nerve. Iris Johansen, Dead Aim. What happens when a reporter does more than just report? What happens when she becomes a story? A celebrated photojournalist, Alex Graham, has recorded some of the world's most tragic and heartbreaking stories, but her latest assignment has forced her to cross a dangerous line. At a dam collapse in Iroquois Junction, Colorado, Alex witnesses a conspiracy that will shock the nation. If she can stay alive long enough to reveal the truth, for the collapsing of the Iroquois Dam was not an accident. The official story is just a cover-up for a truth so frightening, so unthinkable that Alex must be silent forever. Her only ally is Judd Morgan, an ex-covert commando with a checkered past and a team of assassins at his heels. Now she's marked for death by an enemy who never misses, never forgives, never gives up, and who's already got her centered, dead aim. Paranoia by Joseph Finder. More reviews, but we'll read one of them. It was only a prank, diverting cash from Wyatt Telecom's executive slush fund to throw a retirement bash for a member of the loading dock crew. But when corporate security catches up with Adam Cassidy, a low-ambition junior staffer at the high-tech behemoth, they call it something else: embezzlement. John Grisham, Sycamore Row. One of the most popular novels of our time, A Time to Kill established Josh Grisham as the master of the legal thriller. Now he turned to Ford County as Jake Brigance finds himself embroiled in a fiercely controversial trial, exposes a torture of racial tension. Seth Hubbard is a wealthy man dying of lung cancer. He trusts no one. Before he hangs himself from a Sycamore tree, Hubbard leaves a new handwritten will. It is an act that drags his adult children, his black maid, and Jake into the conflict as retrieving and dramatic as the murder trial that made Brigance one of Ford County's most notorious citizens just 3 years earlier. The second will raise many more questions than answers. Why would Hubbard leave nearly all of his fortune to his maid? Had chemotherapy and painkillers affected anyone's ability to think clearly? And what does it all have to do with a piece of land that once known as Sycamore Row? Worth Dying For by Lee Child. More reviews. There's deadly trouble in the Corn County of Nebraska, and Jack Reacher walks right into it. First, he falls foul to the Duncans, a local clan that has terrified the entire county into submission. But it's the unsolved, decades-old case of the missing child that Reacher can't let go. Struggling with books here. Give me a second. The Sky is Falling by Sidney Sheldon. The Winthrops are America's royal family, and it's Prince Charming. And Prince Charming is the sexy, charismatic Gary Winthrop. Now the man on his way to become the Senate's brightest new star is found murdered in his home, the latest in a series of incidents that had killed 5 members of the family in a single year. One of the last people see Gary Winthrop alive is Washington anchorwoman Dana Evans. She makes it her mission to investigate these seemingly random tragedies, little realizing that her search will sweep across several continents, place her and her young son in grave danger, and lead to a truth that will astound the world. Faye Kellerman, The Forgotten. Rena Loris and her husband, LAPD Homicide Lieutenant Peter Decker, are shocked by an outrage that cuts close to the spiritual heart of their family. Rena's small storefront synagogue has been desecrated with an anti-Semitic graffiti and grisly Nazi death camp photograph. The alleged perpetrator is 17 years old. Ernest Golding, a rich kid obsessed with haunting suspicions about the origins of his Polish paternal grandfather. Then Ernesto is found brutally murdered, along with his therapist, Dr. Mervyn Baldwin, and an exclusive nature camp that caters to money-troubled children. For Decker and his wife, an unraveling truth behind Ernesto's violent death becomes more terrifying with each sinister twist. For lethal secrets with roots in the horrors of past generations are coming to the surface, propelling Peter and Rena into a ghastly world of ruthless parents and damaged youths, and toward the dark evil and its ultimate retribution. Michelle Crichton, Congo. Deep in the heart of the darkest region of the Congo, near the legendary ruins of the lost city of Zinji, an 8-person field expedition dies mysteriously and brutally in a matter of minutes. 10,000 miles away, at Houston-based Earth Resources Technology Services Incorporated, Supervisor Karen Ross watches a gruesome video transmission of the ill-fated team, a camp destroyed, tents crushed and torn, equipment moving image of a dark blurred shape. In San Francisco, primatologist Peter Elliott works with Amy, an extraordinary gorilla with a 620 sign vocabulary and a fondness for finger painting. Her recent drawing matches Portuguese paintings, print dating back to 1642, a drawing of an ancient lost city. Immediately, a new expedition is sent into the Congo, descending into a secret world where only one way out may be through the grisliest death. Judith Krantz, Dazzle. More reviews. Now, Judith Krantz, best-selling author of Scruples, Mistral's Daughter, and Till We Meet Again, invites you into the luscious, moneyed world of Jazz Culligan, one of her most daring, provocative, and impetuous heroine yet. Sue Grafton, R is for Ricochet. And just a picture on the back. Johnathan Kellerman, Obsession. Tanya Bigelow was a solemn little girl when Dr. Alex Delaware successfully treated her obsessive-compulsive syndrome. Now at 19, Tanya returns with a curious request that Delaware investigate her aunt's deathbed confession of murder. While Delaware doubts that Patty Bigelow was capable of such a horrifying act, he agrees to look into the matter. Armed with only the vaguest details, Delaware and LAPD detective Milo Sergis retrace Patty and Tanya's nomadic and increasingly puzzling life. Then a very real murder tears open a terrifying tunnel into the past, where secrets and bodies are buried. As the tension mounts, Delaware and Sturgis uncovered a tangled history of depression, vengeance, and death, a legacy that evil refuses to die. Faye Kellerman, Serpent's Tooth. There are crimes so sudden, so heartless, and so terrible they can shatter the strongest faith. A man walks into a trendy Los Angeles restaurant, a disgruntled ex-employee with an automatic weapon, and seconds later, 13 people are dead and 32 more have been wounded. It is a heinous act of mass slaughter that haunts homicide detective Peter Decker, but through the eyewitnesses saw only one lone gunman, apparently who took his own life even after the bloody work was done. Evidence suggests more than one weapon was fired. It is a disturbing inconsistency that says Decker racing headlong into a sordid, labyrinth world of Southern California, money and power on an investigation that threatens to destroy his reputation and his career. Barry Reed, The Deception. After the 3 best-selling legal thrillers, including The Verdict, inspiration for the Academy Award-nominated film starring Paul Newman, Barry Reed returns with The Deception, his most compelling novel to date, brimming with legal intrigue, heart-pounding courtroom scenes, psychological suspense, and red-hot issue ripped from today's headlines. A promising young tennis player with an overly dramatic, demanding father, Donna Dutillo, is hospitalized with suicidal maniac depression. Within weeks of her admittance to St. Anne's, she feels better than ever thanks to an experimental new drug called Capricet. Then, during a break from group therapy, Donna plunges from the hospital's balcony, landing herself at death's door, comatose and paralyzed. Enter Dan Sheldon, a sharp-edged Boston attorney called in to sue the hospital. As Dan goes up against Boston's 2 most powerful institutions, the medical establishment, and the church, he finds himself embroiled in a case that will challenge his belief in the law, his personal code of ethics, and maybe even cost him his life. Damn it. John and Connolly, The Whispers. In the dark reaches of Maine's North Woods, a group of Iraq war veterans is engaged in a ruthless smuggling operation across the Canadian border. What they have unleashed is far more dangerous than they even realize. An ancient evil locked away in Iraq for centuries. Evil has clogged Charlie Parker's steps, costing him his career as a cop and his license as a private investigator. Now, as veterans begin dying mysteriously, he is called in to stop the bloodletting. But the smuggled objects have attracted the shadowy figure he calls the Captain. To defeat them, Parker must form an uneasy alliance with the man he fears more than any other, the killer known as the Collector. Damn it. Why are these so hard? Alright. And we already looked at, we actually get it back to, we already saw this earlier. Johnathan Kellerman, Compulsion. We actually get it back now. A tipsy young woman seeking aid on a desolate highway disappears in the inky black night. A retired school teacher is stabbed to death in broad daylight. 2 women are butchered after closing time in a small town beauty parlor. The curious fact is that the killers drove luxury vehicles, coupled with the baffling lack of any apparent motive, is enough to warrant the attention of LAPD detective Milo Sturgis and his frequent collaborator on the crime beat, psychologist Alex Delaware. What begins with a solitary bloodstain in a stolen sedan quickly spiders outward in an odd, unexpected directions, leading Delaware and Sturgis from the well-heeled center of LA society to its desperate edges, on the trail of a killer who proves to be a fleeting shapeshifter, defying identification, leaving behind dazed witnesses and death, and compelling Alex and Milo to confront the true face of murderous madness. Johnathan Kellerman, Gone. Missing acting students Dylan and Michelle are found in the remote mountains of Malibu, battered and terrified after a harrowing ordeal at the hands of a sadistic abductor. But forensic evidence soon exposes the incident as a hoax, and the kids are charged as criminals themselves. After examining Michelle, a psychologist Alex Delaware is certain that there's more to this sordid psychodrama, and his instincts prove dead on when she is savagely murdered, casting their dragnet into the muskiest corners of LA. Delaware and homicide cop Milo Sturgis unearths more questions than answers, and a host of eerily identical killings. What bizarre and brutal epidemic is infecting the city with terror, madness, and sudden twist of death? Why are these? Hard to do this one-handed. Johnathan Kellerman, Double Homicide. Johnathan and Faye Kellerman, husband and wife, each a best-selling author, now the masters of a crime novel, are writing together for the first time, thrilling us with 2 riveting tales of murder and suspense. Dick Francis, Knockdown. Mrs. Carrie Sanders, that very wealthy American lady, had engaged Jonah Drimma, ex-prize-winning jockey, to buy a sleep chaser from the son of a special friend. The son was Nicole Brevet, an aggressive young man with a sudden, dangerous temper. But there was more than wealth and sophistication in this horse deal. As he left the stables, he took a crushing blow on the head and heard a voice say, "We don't want your money, we want your horse." And that was just the beginning. One of his best and one of his very good indeed. Echo Burning by Lee Child. Thumbing across the scorched Texas desert, Jack Reacher has nowhere to go and all the time in the world to get there. Cruising the same stretch of 2-lane blacktop is Carmen Greer. For Reacher, the lift comes in with a hitch. Carmen's got a wild story to tell about her husband, her family secrets, and a hometown that's purely gothic. She's also got a plan. Reacher's part of it, and before the sun sets, This ride could cost them both their lives. The Price of Honor by Colonel David H. Hackworth. With a golden name and a platinum feature, U.S. Army Special Forces Captain Sandy Kane was born to soldier. For 8 generations, his family has served duty, honor, and country on the battlefield. Save one, Sandy's father, who cracked under fire in Vietnam, disgracing the Kane family as a coward. At least that's what Sandy's been led to believe. Little does he know what happened to his father has grown into a 30-year legacy of silence and deception perpetrated by the most powerful players in Washington. Because of the times of the war, the first casualty is truth, and Sandy Kane knows the truth that is only the thing that set him free, if it doesn't kill him first. Sidney Sheldon, The Best Laid Plans. Dear Diary, this morning I met the man I am going to marry. That declaration set Leslie Stewart on a destiny she could have never imagined, for she is engaging to Oliver Russell, a man fated to rise to the pinnacle of world power, the office of the President of the United States. And in the aftermath of the shattering betrayal that follows, Leslie will amass her own towering media empire dedicated to a single purpose, the downfall of Oliver Russell. On the eve of the most dazzling triumph from Sidney Sheldon, the unchallenged master of best-selling fiction, comes a story of blazing ambitions and thwarted love that enthralls and surprises on every page. David Baldacci, King and Maxwell. David Baldacci's books are published in over 45 languages in more than 80 countries with over 110 million copies in print. His previous novels, King and Maxwell series, Split Second, Our Game, Simple Genius, First Family, and The Sixth Man were all #1 New York Times bestseller. David Baldacci is also the co-founder, along with his wife, of the Wish You Well Foundation, a non-profit organization dedicated to supporting literacy efforts across America. Still a resident of his native Virginia, he invites you to visit him at davidbaldacci.com and his foundation, wishyouwellfoundation.org. David Baldacci, The Innocent. And again, another spiel about David Baldacci, so we're not going to read that. Nevada Bar, Hunting Season. Suspenseful, atmospheric, and pulse-pounding, Hunting Season ranks right up there with the best in the series. Park Ranger Anna Pigeon is back on the Natchez Trace with poachers, grave robbers, and romance, and, of course, a murder. The slightly spooky going-on gives a tale of a pleasant chill, and Barr keeps the story intensity high until the edge-of-your-seat conclusion. Along with her trademark elucidation of the wonders of nature, she will never fail to illuminate human nature as well. Johnathan Kellerman, Devil's Waltz. In one of the most frightening and challenging cases of his career, Dr. Alex Delaware must confront a strange medical mystery involving a child. 21-month-old Casey Jones is the picture of health, yet her parents rush her to the emergency room right after night with symptoms no doctor can explain. Casey's parents seem genuinely concerned. Her favorite nurse is a model of devotion. When Delaware is called in to investigate, his instincts tell him that one of them could be a monster. Then a physician is brutally murdered. A shadowy death is real, and Alex and his friend, LAPD detective Milo Sturgis, have only hours to uncover the link between Casey's terrifying condition and these shockingly, seemingly unrelated events. Michael Connolly, Angel of Flight. This book is falling apart. An activist is killed in a cute LA trolley called Angel Flight, far from Harry Bosch Hollywood turf. But the case is so explosive and the dead man enemy inside the LAPD are so numerous that it falls to Harry to solve it. Now the streets are superheating. Harry's year-old Vegas marriage is unraveling, and the hunt for killer is leading Harry to another high-profile LA murder case. on where every cop had the motive. The question is, did any have the guts? And that's all the books in here. So, I'll go ahead and do one last view if you want to take a good look at it. All the books we have in here and a couple more over there, but go ahead and recommend me what books you want me to read or what books I should read first. Thank you all so much for watching. This has been Neverac Winterite, and I will see you in the next one. Goodbye!